for a second, but the real story is the second man on the grid. That's Brian French. He's going to be starting with tires which have been preheated. They had tire warmers on this car. He's got 80 degrees of tire temperature before they even start. One of the cars further back on the grid, Keith Lively, they actually grooved his slicks to try and generate tire temperature. Once again, cold conditions, tires will be a story, guys.
A great story indeed. The Atlantic's coming out. Fastest cars coming your way to end the day. We come back, though, we'll meet our GT1 champion, Mr. Irvin. Welcome back, and we want to remind everybody that next, immediately following the conclusion of our Formula Atlantic Final Championship, the NHRA AutoZone Nationals from Memphis, Tennessee will be coming up next on Speed Vision. Then, that's the eliminations. The finals will air tonight at 9 o'clock, again, Eastern Time on Speed Vision. Let's go down to Sandy with our champion.
Here's your champion, Jeff Irvin. You earned it. Earlier in the week, your mom and dad told me that you just got an engine on Saturday, picked it up and put it in, and now GT1, you've got it.
Oh, I tell you, it was great. Heck of a battle out there, drop back and forth. Got a good run on Billy down the back straightaway. Cliffs started getting a little loose, and we got kind of tangled up in a slower car, and I got the better line. And then we got by Tim when he went a little too deep at the end straightaway, and it was great, I tell you.
After last year's battle, this is a big congratulations for you. This is the GT1 champion, guys.
All right.
Jeff Irvin.
You can understand, again, just how enthusiastic he is after that so close last year. At this point, let's take you, as we have seen, the Formula Atlantic cars. Right there they are on the pace and parade lap. So we want to bring you the CarParts.com starting grid for the Formula Atlantics. And, excuse me, the Valvoline Max starting grid for the Formula Atlantics. Coming at you, Larry Connor. We heard Cal talk about how quick he's been. Brian French, the defending champion, so fast. Paul LeCain and Keith Lively, both very impressive in qualifying. Then, in our next couple of rows, Chris Kaiser has bought the car that Steve Ford took to 2 national championships, and Mark Rodriguez back with that very fast Mazda-powered Ralt. And we're seeing that, Dorsey, in this category. The Pro category, it's all Toyota, but there's some mixing and matching going on. And David Vandenberg, an old Ralt RT4 with a very unique roll cage, and he's running awfully fast.
Most of these cars, you see the RT41s are Pro cars. They are, in fact, the same that you run the Toyota Atlantic Series, and they run a 1600cc double overhead cam 4-valve Toyota. But we have a Mazda in there, and you could run an old Ford Cosworth like I used to if you wanted to. Most guys don't, because obviously it's not quite as competitive. Single seat open wheel cars with wings, a lot of downforce here. They got big tires. The temperature, as Calvin said, is going to be a big factor because they're relatively harder compounds, and you're going to have to get some temps in them. But these cars are the fastest cars about anywhere through a corner. They make big downforce.
We also are going to take a look at our onboard camera. It should be a good one. Paul LeCain from Sandown, New Hampshire, runs out of the Northeastern Division. There he is, number 90 in the Goodyear Valvoline Ralt RT41. Now, keep in mind, of course, that these cars also have ground effects where they have all of that extra grip, which has got to help right now in these cool conditions. Let's quickly take you back, show you our CarParts.com GT1 provisional results from that last race. And once again, Jeff Irvin doing the job, putting it together, and took the win. Tim Cowan, boy, it was an interesting race for him. He fought back to second. Jack Bush holding on for third. Rob Giorgi in the old Tommy Bahamas car that
Chris Neville
actually took a couple of wins with. There's the rest of the starting field. And of course, there's your story, Cliff Evan. Who knows what may have happened if Evan had been able to stay with that one and put it together. We won't know for a while now. But meanwhile, here we come. The Atlantic cars, Calvin, are coming out of turn 1, heading up into the chicane. This is a category you are so closely associated with, winning the Pro Championship in '87 and here at Mid-Ohio.
That's right, Greg, and just want to give you an update on Larry Connor. I mean, he has a lot of experience down in his crew. He's got Lee Hagan, who won the '85 Super V Championship with Kenny Johnson. He had Tom Knapp here last week. He's the guy who won the IRL Championship with Greg Ray, setting up the car for him. So that car is dialed in, but as always, cold conditions, he's got to be careful in the opening laps.
And you mentioned, of course, Greg Ray won the national championship and went on to do fairly well at a big track in Indianapolis.
Boy, they're going quick, Greg.
Oh, big, and only those front couple rows are lined up.
They're not lined up.
No, green! We're green anyway. Connor to the inside, French outside.
Awesome breaks.
Oh, look at Brian French trying it around the outside, and no, not going to happen. Connor takes it. Keith Lively had to give way too. We're on board with LeCain. Sits in third. Right behind him is Keith Lively.
Well, because of the downforce on these cars, and the guys are probably running a lot of wing in the car right now, they will stop incredibly well. We'll see when they get up to speed this next lap, you won't believe where these guys can stop.
Connor's pole a 120.7, French next at a 122.1. So obviously Connor is fast. French with those preheated tires, but they sat a while on that pre-grid. Some of that heat had to have dissipated.
80 degrees wasn't all that much heat. You're right, it did. It might have been a little help, but it won't be after a lap or two. These guys, I drove in these cars, Greg, 6 times at the runoffs, and there's nothing faster in the corners than these cars are.
Well, you got the ground effects tunnels underneath, literally creating that suction, plus the wings. And again, with the temperatures here, that's got to be great help to be able to just crank in more wing, get some more heat in the tire if you want it.
Yeah, I would think everybody's opted for a lot of downforce in the car on their setup so that they'll get the grip that they need. They don't have to worry about the straightaway speed so much. But look at the lead already developing.
So if somebody had gone brave here and really trimmed the car out a little bit and was willing to be able to hang on to it, that could be very interesting.
Well, the thing with Mid-Ohio is you can't really trim it too much because there's too many corners here. It's a neat track from that standpoint. You got long straightaways where you need to go fast, but there's equal amount of corners where you have to be fast.
And already Larry O'Connor is opening up a little bit. Then French, then LeCain, Lively, and oh, big lockup from LeCain. And right there, big move by Chris Kaiser, but he decided to wait, discretion being the better part of valor, and he will fight again here in just a little bit. We'll be right back for our final championship.
You see a lot of gas additives on the road today, but you can pass them by when you choose new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron. Our new Acceleron technology delivers power and performance to any vehicle, old or new. Just one bottle boosts octane effect, cleans engine parts, and improves miles per gallon, safely with long-lasting results. Get a kick out of driving. Get new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron.
Briefcase.
Need new tires? Our 35,000-mile tires are 4 for just $99. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Dad lost his hair early. When I started losing mine, I checked it out with a dermatologist, and he said Rogaine. It's 2 years later now, and I don't see any difference. Doc was right. You can keep the hair you have with Rogaine.
The Lost Drive-In speeds you back to a groovalicious era of hot rod chicks.
How's this?
Gunslinging rock and roll and spooky special effects.
You making any sense out of this?
It's the Ghost of Dragstrip Hollow at next Saturday night's Undead special feature.
Today's live coverage of the third and final day of the Valvoline Runoffs is being brought to you by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines, and by new 104 Plus Octane Boost with Acceleron Power. On board with Paul LeCain, and Dorsey's given us a great view, and he is not letting Brian French get away.
Now, listen to this engine when he gets on board next time, because these guys are pulling these Toyotas to almost 10,000 revs.
Fighting up and onto that front straight one more time, and by Sandy Hang down in what is a very cold pit lane.
Well, the 88 car, Mark Rodriguez, came in. It looks like the intake was icing up. They did a little work on it, and it's back out, and he has reported back to his crew that it is now running almost fine, but not quite 100%.
Temperatures affecting everything here this weekend.
Well, these are fuel-injected cars, but the butterflies can definitely freeze open because of the fuel around them. And I'll tell you what, these guys, like I said, these little motors are tweaky. They're really running a lot of RPM, 9,800 or so. Some guys will push them over 10,000.
Well, and Paul LeCain continues to give chase here to Brian French. Calvin, battle for second. Very good.
It really is. And the thing was, Brian French really needed to get the good start and try and get the jump on Connor, but he didn't make that happen. He had that tire temperature, not a lot, but it should certainly have helped in the early laps. But I just spoke to the crew on Connor's car. They said we made a few changes. Not too much more downforce, Dorsey, just a slight increase in aero, but they did change to a softer compound front tire and change the shocks a little bit. But they run an incredibly stiff setup on this car. 1,750-pound rear springs. It really makes the car dance around, particularly under these cool track conditions.
Well, I'll tell you, you, that's a lot of spring for a car like this. It's more like a go-kart setup, but it helps the car turn in really quickly. There's no question about that. And the softer compound in the front helps turn in as well. Right on board. Now listen to this engine whine.
Boy, revving so high, it's actually affecting the onboard a little bit. That is unbelievable, the revs that these cars generate.
Yeah, they do a lot of RPM and get a lot of power up there on the top end. There's no question about that.
You know, Calvin talked about Brian French a little bit earlier in the show. One of the things that Brian does, he loves his vintage racing, and it's nice to be able to afford that hobby, and Brian is doing it in class. He bought the 1993. LeCain, our camera car, suddenly, he must have gone to 10,001 revs.
Well, listen now.
Oh, something.
It's running.
But something does not sound right at all.
Now, hear it? Hear that?
Is that maybe gearbox?
No, it's not gearbox. I think he's got a busted valve. Hit it.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to sound that way. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't drive it if it had a valve problem. So these are 4-valve motors.
Well, right now, Paul LeCain simply trying to get that car back into the pits. That should move up Keith Lively up into the 3rd spot, champion of the Northern Pacific Division out of San Francisco, California. 5 laps of 20 done.
Watch closely. This amazing titanium tip drill bit is actually moving sideways to do what no other drill bit could ever do. It's yours when you put the power of titanium in your hands with Titan Master XL. The amazing new titanium tip drill bits that are so strong they'll never wear out. Guaranteed. Titan Master XL drill bits fit any drill, and their titanium tips give them the indestructible power to cut through virtually any surface. When you order your Titan Master XL drill set, you'll get 17 titanium tip drill bits of all sizes. Use them on wood, masonry, drywall, metal, you name the job, and Titan Master XL has it covered. You'll also receive the amazing Titan Master XL drill saw that turns any drill into a multi-function saw. The drill saw can be moved from side to side to turn small holes into big ones, smooth out squares and rectangles, cut straight line openings, and even sever materials in half. And you can turn your drill into a screwdriver with this Titan Master XL converter, which includes 6 flat and Phillips head screwdriver bits. Plus, you'll never have trouble finding the right size drill bit because the Titan Master XL drill set comes complete with this handy carrying case. And now, the Titan Master XL drill set can be yours for only $19.95. Call in the next 10 minutes, and we'll also include this complete set of 300 screws and fasteners of all sizes. The Titan Master XL drill set is so indestructible, it's backed by a lifetime warranty. If any of the drill bits ever break, we'll replace them absolutely free. You get 17 titanium tip drill bits, the titanium drill saw, screwdriver converter, 6 screwdriver bits, 300 screws and fasteners, and heavy-duty carrying case. That's 325 pieces in all for only $19.95. Order now.
To order your set of Titan Master XL drill bits, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-941-8200 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling to Titan Master, 6960 Eastgate Boulevard, Lebanon, Tennessee, or call 1-800-941-8200.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, where the battle for 3rd is on, and that's Chris Kaiser down to the inside of Keith Lively. Lively, the blue car on the outside, and they've swapped positions on and off here a couple of laps, and the battle continues, and Kaiser makes that pass stick. Now that car, as I said, the one that just made the pass, Steve Forer drove that car a few years ago and took it to 2 national championships. It's pretty well sorted.
Pretty good old car, really. You don't see these cars. And one of the bad things about this class is that each year they make a new car, and sometimes it obsoletes the year before. And so the older cars sometimes don't have as good a chance. This one's working very well.
Very well. He's gone around Lively. Right there is Keith Lively now. And as I mentioned, Lively out of San Francisco, Kaiser out of Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, and he was only 4th in the Northeastern Division, but obviously the competition there is pretty strong.
Right behind them is Bernie Senier, and he's in a Swift, which is definitely not the right car to be. Right there's the red car. Bernie Senier has raced these cars back to when I used to race them. I used to have some really good tough stuff. And
he's still, I mean, he's not that far off. He's doing a great job in that older chassis. There's Lively, and you can see the margin that Kaiser has opened up pretty quickly once he got around Lively. Up front, it continues to be Connor leading from French. You just saw French about midway down the back straight here, and Connor up in the S's already. Kaiser just screaming down that back straight, and of course Lively doing anything he can right now to try and stay close. It looks like Sunnier might be closing in on Lively a little bit here.
Bernie doing a good run for himself, like you say. It's not the right car. It's not as good a car as these guys have underneath them. And in this class, there's no driver in the world that's going to overcome the deficit of the technology that these cars possess. Is awesome. These are like little Formula One cars.
Right. Well, the thing with the Swift, I remember it was Greg Ray, as a matter of fact, the year before it was the year he won the national championship. He entered his Swift up against the Ralt, the RT40s and the 41s at Milwaukee on the mile. The Swift, compared to the Ralt, didn't make anywhere near the ground force or the downforce, the ground effects, but it was incredibly slippery. As a result, Ray entered it at Milwaukee, put it on pole, and led a good chunk of the race until I think he had a gearbox problem or whatever. But those Swifts in a straight line are still quick. It's just that when they get to the corner, they have to brake sooner, and they can't get through the corners anywhere near as quick as these Ralts. Right there at number 33, that's Knox. He is also running an older Swift chassis.
Yeah, doing a good account of that, too. Those two having a good tussle.
Yeah, Norman Fox, the Fox Auto Parts Swift DB4. And the guy he's chasing right there is Kenny Suede.
Ultimately, that is what took me out of Formula Atlantic racing, was the fact that I ran in the old flat bottom days, and when the ground effect car came out, it obsoleted the car I had, and I didn't have the money to buy another one.
No.
So that took me out of that.
So you ended up moving along, winning a Trans Am championship and an IMSA championship.
So all things are for a reason. These three guys having a really good run right now.
Yeah, up behind Fox now comes a very persistent.
Around the outside, he makes it stick.
Gary Machico, nice pass.
Really good pass.
Oh, excuse me, that's Connor. That's Connor lapping.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I looked at the monitor for a second. Calvin, Connor is absolutely hooked up.
He's flying, Greg, and one of the things that the competitors were saying all week long, that he had great straightaway speed, and this year he's changed from injection over to carburation, and that allows him a 50-pound weight break, which is obviously a bonus, but more importantly, he says on the dyno, they're seeing about 8 or 9 more horsepower. Arnie Loining does the engines and does a great job. He has a great history of great motors in Ford and Sports 2000 and stuff, and certainly some good Atlantic motors over the year. He did Jimmy Vasser way back in the early 90s, so he's got some horsepower, he's got less weight, and he's got a flying machine underneath him.
He's got a flying machine, and he's the pilot right now, doing an incredible job. One thing about the injection, although you have to drive a heavier car and it's a little less horsepower, it broadens the torque band. Some of the drivers prefer that. O'Connor's making use of raw power.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All-natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx enhance sexual energy, increasing desire, performance, and satisfaction. Enerx is all natural with no side effects. With Enerx, you'll feel the increased energy within minutes and with no chemicals. We're so sure you and your mate will be completely satisfied. We'll offer you a 30-day, no questions asked, full refund. Enerx stimulates sexual energy by expanding the blood vessels, causing increased blood flow to specific areas of the body. Unleash the power of Enerx now.
Call 1-800-442-4226 in the next 10 minutes and find how you can save 30% off retail price. Take advantage of our special TV offer. Call 1-800-442-4226.
Next weekend, fasten your seatbelts. Speed Vision wants to take you for a ride. First, SCCA Trans Am bags into action with Cobras and Corvettes. Then Audi's fleet turns up the heat as the American Le Mans tradition continues at Laguna Seca, only on Speed Vision.
Put the food down, walk away, nobody gets hurt. Let's get him! I got him!
Think you're tough enough to drive a Tacoma?
Give me back!
Join the club. Introducing the double cab with over 5 feet of bed length.
You just can't mess with a man's salad.
Word up.
At the beginning of the race weekend here in Central Ohio, the Richland County community goes out of its way to welcome the racers, crews, and fans to the area. When the Runoffs first came to Mid-Ohio in 1994, the community looked at the event's previous 24-year history at Road Atlanta and saw an event with a long-term future.
The group that puts this together is a Richland SCCA committee. It was formed 6 years ago to make sure that we pay attention to this group when they come in. It's got leaders from across the county, from different cities, from different economic development agencies. Our organization coordinates things, and the biggest thing is everybody has a lot of fun doing it.
The Runoffs are the final event of the half dozen that visit Mid-Ohio each year, and according to Lee Tassif, they have saved the best for last.
On a whole, and there's some 4,000 folks that come in, members, volunteers, drivers, crews, that we see on a regular basis that say thank you more than any other group, a higher percentage than any other group that we've ever dealt with. Those kind of things go a long way. When people give of their time and money to put on the things that we do, we enjoy it that much more. And they come to the booth and tell us that. They come up to us in the dinner. They come up to us when they're getting their tickets and say thank you. We look forward to coming here next year. Those things make all the difference in the world to the people that put this on.
And they do a stellar job, and I have been to that party in that Fairhaven Hall, and it is a blast. They serve you an incredible meal, all the volunteers who are part of this, Dorsey, and then they have some great music and dancing and partying. And really, since it's come here, as he said, this community has really taken this event and made it a very special happening for the entire area.
Well, this Valvoline Runoffs, let's not get it wrong, brings in a lot of revenue to this area, too. All the hotels are full, all the restaurants are full every night. You know, this we get a big crowd here. This is a big event. It's the biggest road race there is in the world.
And there's your leader, Larry Connor, who just continues to uncork some brilliant laps. There's Brian French, number 45 in the Motorsports Enterprises. Ralt sits in second. Connor driving Connor and Murphy Limited. Ralt, both of them 41s, and they have things pretty much their own way right now. Brian French, a very colorful car. He's a very colorful character heading down in the Milwaukee region from Central Division. Sits in second. He just doesn't have an answer right now for Connor, who is absolutely hooked up. As Calvin said, it's almost a plane right now, and Connor's doing a great job.
That combination that they use and the horsepower he must have. You were talking about the torque band on a injected motor. It makes it a little easier to drive off corners, but these cars have a lot of grip, and sometimes with big carburation, you know, you can target a specific RPM band, top end, for instance, and really make big power.
Well, and at the same time, we're talking temperatures in the low 40s. Generally, engines like that in terms of power, and with the carburetors, it's probably even more effective. Isn't it?
Well, that, and also, you know, we talk about the 50 pounds. 50 pounds doesn't sound like much, but these cars don't weigh much. You get the driver out of that car, it's probably 1,200 pounds. So 50 pounds on a percentage scale is a big percentage.
Yeah, that's almost 5% of the car's weight right there, and that's very significant, particularly when you're talking a car that's 240, 250 horsepower. That's a big percentage of the horsepower ratio, going from 240, say, if he gained to 249 and loses 50 pounds, that's a big swing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think 50 pounds isn't much. It, in fact, can be a heck of a lot. Oh, trouble right there. We see a car pulling off as we watch. We ride right there with Brian French. One of the cars having trouble pulling off in the straightaway there. I didn't get the number.
I didn't see it either number-wise, but there's Connor, who's running very fast right now, and he has now completed lap 13, so Connor only needs to keep this up, Calvin, for another 7 laps. He's got a championship.
Well, he does, Greg, and Lee Hagen is looking at the stopwatch right now. Lee, it's been a long 2 weeks here at the Runoffs, and I know today for Larry, it's been very tense. He wanted to change the car during that last hour a number of times.
4 or 5 times. Yeah, we changed wings. We changed just about everything. Springs. It looks like it's working, though. Yeah, he's going pretty quick.
How the time's looking? I mean, it's very cold out there. He ran like a 20 in qualifying, 19 in testing, I understand. What's it looking like now?
22.3 is on the watch. So
is that going to be enough?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's got a 12-second lead, so we're doing good.
He's just cruising, boys, but looking good.
Yeah, 22.3. I mean, just the temperatures themselves are costing 2.5 to 3 seconds in this category, and we've seen that expand in some of the other ones where they don't have the grip that these cars can generate. So now completing lap 14, 6 to go. Connor is closing in.
What is the essence of performance? Speed? Traction? Control? is it exceeding your own expectations? The Kumo Extra Supra 712. World-class quality and value. Kumo. Way to go.
He's been voted the most powerful on-air personality in sports. He's larger than life. He sparked a passion taking the country by storm. And the Sporting News says he's generated more buzz than Oprah Winfrey and Larry King. He's arguably the hippest, freshest, funniest sports talker working today.
You're underpaid. There's no question about that.
That is some serious smack. Jim Rome, The Last Word. Weeknights at 6:30 and 11:30 on Fox Sports Net. Welcome to the jungle.
There's a company that wants to approve you for a new Visa card. Whether it's Visa Classic to build or rebuild your credit, the prestige of Visa Gold with an even higher credit line, or the purchasing power of Visa Platinum, the only card you'll ever need. The company is Providian, one of the top issuers of Visa cards in the world with over 14 million customers. Whether it's Classic, Gold, or Platinum, call now and apply right over the phone. Providian will work hard to give you the card that's right for you. Visa from Providian. We approve.
Tonight, get the inside line from Speed Vision News. Then Kenny Roberts leads the charge to Brazil. And go back to school with Audi's training course. That's Speed Vision News Race Week at 7:30 Eastern, MotoGP at 8, Motor Vision at 11.
Welcome back to Mid-Ohio, everybody, as we're closing in on the last 5 laps, about to wrap up this year 2000 Valvoline Runoffs. Mr. Connor continues to lead very strongly. Now, you know, we've been talking about the great job and the terrible conditions that our pit folks have been doing. Calvin Fish, John Bizignano, Sandy Hang. It's been awesome, but you're not getting these pictures and you're not getting all of this action from people sitting inside either. The camera crews that Speed Vision has put together for this event, as well as the RF people, those are the people that take care of those onboards. They're outside working with the pit staff, putting those cameras on the cars. There's Tess. Now, she's probably the smartest of the bunch because she grabbed a couple of the baked potatoes from the hot locker before she went out there, threw them in her pockets to keep her hands warm. Quick thinking for Tess there. That's Gunther. Big wave from Gunther up there. Boy, it is cold, folks, and they've been up there for hours. Look at Chuck. Look at the height he's dealing with up there in the breeze. Doing a great job, and of course those guys so dedicated and more concerned about protecting the cameras. That's Ron. Thank you, Ron. Incredible job from Ron. We appreciate it. Keep the tour going. That's Kevin. He's the tech manager. He's outside because that's where the radio works best. He's got to be able to respond to any hassles in a hurry and fix it. So, boy, that is a cold person operating a camera right there. Thanks very much. An absolutely great job as always. And keeping those cameras wrapped to keep the warmth.
Greg, let me tell you something. Those glorified deer stands are cold. I shot my open from up there the other day. It was solid ice up there.
I believe that.
I wasn't a happy guy.
Well, you're inside where it's warm and you're at your best.
I'm a little better now. I'm still too cold. I'm going to Florida.
There comes Connor, and he is going by. It's an interesting story, that number 31 car he passed right there. And that's Gary Machiko, who I mentioned earlier, out of the Northeastern Division. That is an old Ralt RT5. That's a Super V that is allowed to run in club racing in the Atlantic category. He's been very competitive as well. But there's our current top 5 with 3 to go.
I like new things, especially when they get old.
Like keeping things around? Good news. Introducing Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. Max Life conditions use seals to help prevent leaks and helps keep your high mileage engine performing for a long, long time.
Son, another 100,000 miles and this baby will be yours.
When was the last time you spent 10 hours trying to do your job 1 second faster?
Hold your brakes. Reset your fuel. Go, go, go. Good job, Royal.
Brace yourself for the dawn of the undead as the Lost Drive-In goes ghoulish in October.
Something's wrong here.
Every Saturday night, try to live through one petrifying Lost Drive-In after another as Speed Vision carries you off to the dark side.
Looks like a nightmare factory.
What the hell's going on around here anyway?
There's no place to run. There's no place to hide.
No, I promise you I won't go out.
So grab a friend and get ready to scream, This Saturday night, it's Ghost of Drag Strip Hollow, 11 Eastern, 12 Pacific.
Today's live coverage of the final day of SCCA's Valvoline Runoffs has been presented by Valvoline Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And it's also being brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better selection. Experience Toyota today. You know, there's a great story that's building. Certainly Connor on his way to the win. But another story that's developing is the one for number 26, Dave Vandenberg out of Sioux Center, Iowa, and the Vandenberg Scales Rice Lake Weighing Rolt. That's an old RT4. He has done extensive modifications, including one, putting a Mazda engine in it, two, strengthening it with that roll cage, Dorsey, very unique sprint car looking roll cage. I talked to him earlier. He had big problems in qualifying. They were going through oil in that engine, that Mazda rotary engine, like crazy. They finally figured it out. He said the car's quicker than an 11th qualifying. He's up to 6th in a great drive.
Doing a real good job. And RT4 is one of the very first ground effects cars after the flat bottom one I was talking about. That car is dated, believe me, nowhere near as quick as these other guys. He locks the right front up, and he's doing a great job. Last lap for this man.
Larry Connor, what a great run he's put in. Congratulations, by the way, to Vandenberg. That is just an unbelievable drive in that car. But Connor, last time out of the keyhole, and he has got an absolutely unbelievable run going.
Yeah, there's nobody going to touch. That car is on a rail. The setup they did, the springs and so forth, you heard his crew chief talking about with Cal, they nailed it. They got it right on the money. Car's doing everything perfect.
That makes it very comfortable for the driver, doesn't it? When you are extremely confident in the car, you can do everything just a little bit more committed.
You see him right there. I mean, he's just from the outside of the racetrack to the inside, he's got it wired.
Connor coming around now out of the S's up into madness, making the run toward that wonderful turn 11. Even in these cars, you can break them loose and drive them a little bit, but he has no need. Boy, he is just cruise mode right now as he comes back. Now, we want to remind you that almost as soon as we get the checker here, we have to leave because the NHRA AutoZone Nationals are coming up from Memphis right after we're done. So we wanted to give you a warning of that, and so be prepared for it. Here he comes. Connor onto the front straight, slows down, celebrates his national championship right there. Brian French looks good for second. A great drive by 84, Chris Kaiser to third. Great drives all. 480 total laps, 224 races, 10,090 miles for our 24 national champions. For Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, John Bizignano, Sandy Hank, I am Greg Creamer. Thanks to Speed Vision Productions and a great crew. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Enjoy the drag races from Memphis next.
October 7th, 2000, Memphis, Tennessee, for Tony Schumacher, a ride he would not soon forget. Longtime NHRA driver Mike Dunn is alongside. Take us through this wild, savage ride.
Boy, this is a wild ride. Tony here, everything looks pretty good, nice and easy, perfect Tony Schumacher run. The wing comes off, disrupts the back end, drives the car right into the wall. From that point, the car goes over the wall, starts coming apart, and Tony's just hanging on for dear life right now. Just unbelievable accident.
The car doing exactly what it was built and designed to do.
That's exactly right. It was basically built to break away so the driver compartment stayed in one piece and the flying debris like the engine and stuff went away from the other. As we see on another shot here, we'll see the wing come off, and what it looks like here, Eli, is as it does, it unloads that right tire, plants the left tire, which actually drives the car into the wall. Tony at this point has nothing he can do except pull the parachute, which he does to get out. Here we see the wing come flying back down and hitting the ground. You know, this is just an unbelievable crash. We'll see here on the in-car camera. I think we'll be able to see a little bit better as he leaves the starting line and goes down the track. Normal Tony Schumacher, Dan Olson run. The car was running good. Looked like it was going to run a 450. When it gets down track here about 1,000-foot mark, we're going to see the car get disrupted when the wing comes off. And what happens is you'll see the left tire start smoking. The right tire is going to actually unload. It's going to drive that left wheel down, and you see the tire smoke coming off there, and it drives the car right into the wall. Tony has nothing he can do right there.
Moments later, Schumacher airlifted to a local hospital where reports indicate remarkably nothing more than a broken leg. A very lucky man.
He's back in front of him.
Vision proudly presents coverage of the 2000 NHRA Winston Championship, the 21st of the 24 national event, $45 million tour. Today, the 13th annual AutoZone Nationals from the Memphis Motorsports Park, just down the road from the birthplace of the Blues. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Welcome to Memphis, Tennessee. Mike Dunn is alongside, one of only 3 drivers in NHRA history to have ever won 10 or more races in both Top Fuel and Funny Car. We're standing in front of an empty pit area for the Army team. Empty, but certainly a relieved bunch of folks in light of the encouraging reports regarding the medical condition of Tony Schumacher. Now, with that good news already spreading through the pit area, Mike, let's talk about the other major story. Temperature in the high 30s this morning. It should get up into the mid-40s. How difficult is that for these teams to deal with?
Well, it's going to be tough. You know, obviously the main concern is going to be the track temperature. As the track doesn't get enough heat in it, you're going to see a lot of cars go out there and tend to have tires shaking, a little bit of problem getting down the track. Hopefully the sun will come out. If the sun comes out and warms that track temperature up, I think we're going to be fine to see some good racing today.
A lot of stories to talk about today. Let's get right to it by joining Steve Evans. Steve?
Eli, not to minimize Tony Schumacher's injuries in any way, but when you watch the replay of this crash, as it somersaults over the wall, then snap rolls 9 or 10 times, it's hard to believe that all he got was a broken leg. And he can thank the chassis builder Murph McKinney and the people at NHRA that make the rules. Now think of the driver's compartment as a capsule within the car. It's designed to break away right here to prevent the car from pole vaulting. Tony's car did just that. It's designed to break away right here, as Tony's did, to get the mass of the motor away from the driver. Now, regardless of who builds the car, it has to meet certain specs in this area. The thickness of the chrome moly steel tubing, also the upper and lower rail, how many diagonals and how many uprights. This is all very carefully controlled and inspected. And a lot of drivers today will climb in their cars with confidence after seeing what happened to Tony yesterday. It performed fabulously. Chris McClure?
The instant things went wrong with Tony Schumacher, we were all aware of the problem. But what about the man racing right next door against his nemesis in the next lane? Did you have any idea something had gone wrong?
Actually, the throttle had hung open on my car, and I was trying to pull it back. I couldn't get it pulled back, so I hit the fuel shutoffs and banged the blower. When I got out of the car, I looked around, and I saw the pieces of Tony's car all over, and I ran down there. And then when I looked, I didn't want to see any more, but thank God that no matter the rivalries or whatever, the Winston Championship, none of that's as important as Tony being okay.
Now, how long does it take you to gather things back up? Because you must continue to compete.
Well, we did the same thing in Topeka last year. I drove the next day. Happened this year in Chicago, and we won the race with a spare car. You got to focus on racing. That's what we get paid to do, and that's what we love to do. So, like I said, thank God he's okay, and we just got to do what we got to do today.
Eli, it's all part of the sport.
It really is, but sometimes it's tough to get everything together. One guy who has gotten it all together, Luigi Novelli, used the final round of qualifying to earn his way into today's field.
What can I do you for, young fella?
Just a filter.
Just a filter. Did anyone else hear that? Son, you put inferior oil filters in your engine, and it's not long for this world. Look, nothing's more dependable than America's #1 filter, Fram. You'll thank me someday. Youth.
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. And for revolutionary extended life protection, try the new Fram X2 Extended Guard.
When did you folks see the light?
On a trip to my sister's, I said, why waste money when we can stay at Motel 6, didn't I, hon? Now see what happens when you listen. It's like that fear he had of cauliflower wouldn't go near the produce section.
Call us and see the light for yourself.
Go where you wanna go.
Introducing Goodyear's new and improved AquaTread 3. At highway speeds in a downpour, a set of AquaTread 3 tires pumps away over 6 gallons of water per second for outstanding wet traction. That's serious technology. Freedom from worry. The all-new 80,000-mile wet traction, dry traction AquaTread 3.
Serious freedom.
Only from Goodyear.
Goodyear, Goodyear.
Labor-ready, dependable temporary labor.
I'm Mario Andretti, and you're watching Speed Vision.
Speed Vision coverage of the 2000 NHRA Winston Championship is being brought to you by Fram, who asks, when was the last time you changed your air filter? And by the new Motel 6, now renovated nationwide and still the best price of any national chain. Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee, everybody. It's a new race weekend, and it's a new year for the rule book in NHRA competition. If you're not familiar, 90% nitro, that's the most you can have in the fuel mixture. You've got to get out there and go racing 75 minutes after your previous run. And, of course, if you do oil down the racetrack, well, it's going to cost you both dollars and NHRA Winston points. As a matter of fact, the rule book is very specific, Mike Dunn, and it's cost some teams this year.
And that's exactly right. But what it's done is allowed, a lot of these teams were skeptical at the beginning of the year, but it's cut down on the oil downs and allowed a lot of these teams to actually save a little bit on the money.
Now atop the leaderboard, if you will, in this dubious category is David Grubnick with 11 penalties. He and Doug Herbert have each had to give the sanctioning body $6,000. On down the list, you see no penalties for Tony Schumacher. Steve Evans, it's been a tough year for the Grubnick bunch.
Well, Eli, the David Grubnick oil downs have been hard on that man's pocket, team owner John Mitchell, but they haven't taken a pounding in the points because 10 of those oil downs came in qualifying, only 1 in elimination. So you're still in the top 10.
Yeah, we just got in. We're actually in by 1 point. It's a tight battle between us and Don Lampus, but the way this car's coming around now, we feel confident we'll end up staying in the top 10 for the rest of the year.
Hey, mate, you hold the track record here, said a year ago at 457.
Yeah, isn't that something? But yeah, then we could run 98% nitro. So we've got totally different conditions here, and you know we'll obviously go out and try and protect the record. We just got to wait and see what happens.
And keep the oil in the crankcase.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Chris.
There is no mistaking the intentions of Corey McLenithan when he sits in the seat of his top fuel dragster. But next year, it'll have to be a different seat. A year after Joe Gibbs Racing folded its funny car operation, they have announced that the top fuel team will also cease to exist at the end of the 2000 season. But there is every indication that the sponsor, MBNA, would like to stay in the sport. And Corey, of course, hopes that that will be with him. Leading me to the question, where does it stand? How do they relate to you right now?
Well, things just happened a few days ago, but you know everything around drag racing always happens fast. So right now we have been in touch with MBNA every single day. A lot of people would like to have this MBNA deal, but I'm hoping they're going to stay with me and we'll either take it somewhere else or maybe my own car. You know, that remains to be seen, but meetings are going on as we speak, and as they let me know, I'll let you guys know.
With 4 races to go in 2000, Corey has won 18 races on behalf of this team. Steve, he'd like to make a few more of them.
Well, Chris, unlike Corey Mack, Larry Dixon has no sponsorship concerns. His Miller Lite deal is in effect for the next 3 years. What is not in effect right now is a chance to win this Winston Championship. You need a miracle.
To say the least. You know, I mean, Gary and Tony have been running really good during the summer. We quite haven't. You know, we've been kind of boring. Going to second round semifinals, really haven't done anything with it. You know, we've been staying in third place, but, you know, a miracle. That's what we need right now.
Also, you need to keep Amato at bay to hang on to third.
Yeah, the guys behind us, you know, Amato, Coletta, Bernstein, they're all running good, and, you know, we're trying to get up to second place, maybe first place, you know, but at the same time, we're trying to keep those guys off our tails.
He isn't quitting, I can tell you that. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk to his funny car teammate.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All-natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx enhance sexual energy, increasing desire, performance, and satisfaction. Enerx is all-natural with no side effects. With Enerx, you'll feel the increased energy within minutes and with no chemicals. We're so sure you and your mate will be completely satisfied. We'll offer you a 30-day, no-questions-asked, full refund. Enerx stimulates sexual energy by expanding the blood vessels, causing increased blood flow to specific areas of the body. Unleash the power of Enerx now.
Call 1-800-442-4226 in the next 10 minutes and find how you can save 30% off retail price. Take advantage of our special TV offer. Call 1-800-442-4226.
Hey, did you get them brakes at Pep Boys?
Yeah, I did.
I appreciate it.
Now get up to $40 back on premium Revestis brake service. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Veteran Al Hoffman He only has moon eyes for you. He drives the Moon Eyes Pontiac Firebird. He's won twice a year at the Memphis Motorsports Park. Of course, Jim Dunn does all the preparation on the team that has been ongoing for so many years now and continues to get better and better each week. We're starting to see some consistency from that racing operation. You know, as was the case in Top Fuel, same thing in Funny Car. If you oil down the racetrack, there are fines to be paid, points to be deducted, except John Force, showing again why he's #1 in points, Mike.
Not only is he usually the quickest and fastest car out there, but he doesn't get any points deducted from oil downs. That's what makes that team so dominant.
What's happening in Funny Car? Well, we dispatched Chris McClure down to the pit area. He's standing by in the U.S. Tobacco pit to bring you up to speed.
Coming into Memphis, the Funny Car points are nearly settled for the year 2000, at least at the top. John Force with a wide margin over everyone else in his attempt to capture a 10th championship. Jerry Tolliver sitting in second, Ron Capps in third. Capps, of course, has an opportunity to catch Tolliver at least. He had a chance to nibble some of those points away in Topeka when he got to the final against John Force, but smoked the tires about 75 feet out, had to settle for second. Now this year, 6 finals, no victories. I suppose that's a little aggravating when you put it all together.
Yeah, Chris, it's frustrating. It really is. But, you know, when you get to a final round, I mean, you've done a lot of some really good things just to get there. And so, you know, this team's not content with #2, but we're also trying to shoot for #2 in the points. You know, Force is out there ways, and we're just trying to do every one of these Winston Championship points means a lot, and every round is important. 4 races left. We're at some good tracks, and I tell you, Ed McCullough has shown with the 481 that we ran the quickest of 90% that we can run with or better than anybody out here, and that's what we're trying to do. We're going to try and test a few things for next year and finish #2 this year and then go out next year and see if we can start off great.
Well, they're going to finish the year with spirit, if nothing else. Don Prudhomme runs the team, of course. Don, a couple of analyses, if you will. First, Funny Car, 6 finals, no victories. How does that sit with you?
Well, obviously we'd like to win a race, you know, but the way they're running, the car is really doing excellent. You know, I was just pointing out to the guys, you know, after Topeka, our last race, you know, after the first round, there was 6 team cars, and 8 cars left. 6 of them were team cars. So, you know, this 2-car effort is a strong deal. And for us to be in the position we're in, fighting off those 2-car efforts, I think we're got a pretty doggone strong team.
Over in Top Fuel, Larry Dixon, couple of victories this year, 3rd in the points. That's got to be satisfying.
Well, it is to me, yeah. They've won a few races so far this year. They're doing well, and you know, Dick LaHaye is real consistent with the Miller car. You know, it's a tough car, and you know what's great is when they roll up to the start line, they stand a real good shot of winning, and that's all you can ask for. You know, and you got a bad hot rod instead of going up there knowing that it's a lame duck or something. You know, it's strong when you're in a car like either one of these cars are great cars.
These guys are in a good frame of mind, and they certainly can score a win or two again before this season is over. Steve?
Jess, what do you think? John Force can't get any more popular. Last weekend in Topeka, he goes out and wins his 90th race, the winningest drag racer of all time, closing in on a 10th championship. And John, all in all, life is pretty good right now.
Yeah, we watch the weather and make sure we don't break a leg here or something. Just come out here, give the fans a show, and get her qualified. That's most important.
First half of the season, the wrestlers kind of had you on the rope. Second half, you've decimated them.
Well, not just Jerry Tolliver and Epler with the WWF teams. They were good hot rods, but they took the lead. We passed it back and forth. They got into a slump. When they did, we made a move with 4 straight wins. And, of course, we've had the same slumps. So I think we can hold them off. It's looking pretty good, but you never say it's over till it's over.
Well, it could be over this weekend, depending on how John performs. Chris?
Coming into this season, the man who occupies this seat on a regular basis, Gary Dencham, had a career-best 4.954 ET. Twice this year, he's run better than that. A 4.93 at Gainesville. Last week at Topeka against Tony Pedregon, a 4.94. But he didn't win that race, and that has to add up to some frustration.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. We've struggled a bit during the summer here, and we finally got the car running good again, and you go up there and run darn near a career best and you get beat. It's kind of bad.
Can you do anything about those Castrol-sponsored cars? 4 and 34 lifetime against them. You get them out of the way, things might be better.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great. But, you know, it runs in cycles. 3 years ago, every time we raced Tony, we beat him. last couple of years he's been beating the heck out of us, and I think we can get back to him. There's so many good cars this year. The competition in Nitro Funny car is way better than it's ever been in the history of the class, and I think anybody can beat anybody.
Eli, I think he's going to hang in there. He's going to win some of these soon.
I think he needs to hang in there. I mean, you take a look at guys who have won. Just a few weeks ago, we saw Bruce Sarver. We saw Bob Gilbertson march through the field earlier this year in Texas. That's what's great about the sport, Mike. You just never know.
And that's right. Anybody that qualifies on Saturday and gets into that show for Sundays and eliminations has a shot at winning, especially this year in Top Field, because like Gary said, it is just so tight, and the quality of cars out there is just tremendous.
Whit Bazemore with a win. He'd like to add another, as he says so long to Chuck Etchels. A lot of stories within the stories, and we're going to come back and continue with more from the Memphis Motorsports Park in just a moment.
Some guys like long legs. Some like blonde hair. Then there are guys who like alternators from 84 Chrysler Lasers. Car guys, your website is here. CarParts.com, the world's largest supply of parts and accessories for cars and trucks.
You probably should mention this to the wife.
CarParts.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette. When did you see the light?
We were staying with my cousin, and Duke here wasn't getting along with their cat, Fluffy. So I thought, hey, Motel 6 takes pets, and it's a great price.
Here's Fluffy now. Just kidding, boy. Call us and see the light for yourself.
Labor ready. Dependable temporary labor.
I'm Alex Zanardi, and you're watching Speed Vision.
America's Air Force has a plane so advanced, it dominates everything in the air. Yet on radar, it's as small as a bird. The meanest, baddest bird on the planet. Join the team that keeps us flying. America's Air Force. No one comes close.
Now hear this. You have entered the racing news and information superhighway. Speed Vision News Race Week, a weekly show that drives, speeds, and soars to the ends of the earth to bring you highlights, analysis, and in-depth coverage by those experts who live it 24 hours a day. Get the inside line on Speed Vision News Race Week every week. Tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific.
We continue from Memphis Motorsports Park. Time to talk now about the 500 cubic inch normally aspirated engines of the Pro Stockers. Jeg Coughlin, how in the world do you get out to 425 points of an advantage?
I'll tell you, they've just been dominating all season long. They've got the perfect team together with Dick Maxson as their crew chief and everything, and Jeg does a great job. He's one of the best drivers in the business.
They've won at Pomona, they've won at Phoenix, Las Vegas, Houston, Richmond, Atlanta. They won at the U.S. Nationals, Englishtown, New Jersey. They won at Heartland Park in Topeka. That's why these guys can't keep up, right, Chris?
In last week's Pro Stock final at Topeka, Darrell Alderman got the whole shot against Jeg Coughlin, but that's all he got. Coughlin came roaring from behind to pick off the victory. The latest successful chapter in what has been a marvelous year, a 9-victory year. And when you look at the list of people he's defeated in compiling those 9 victories, you find that he's defeated 7 different opponents. And I think, Jeg, when you look at that overall, that has to make you feel especially good.
Oh, it sure does. That's NHRA Pro Stock Racing at its finest. Races are decided by just thousandths of a second. Many of those rounds themselves were decided by those margins. And, the competition's extremely tough, and we've just had keyed in preparation and consistency, and that's been the key to our success this year.
At Topeka, you went 3-0 against Dodge. You're 13-0 overall. You've never been beaten by them. What's the secret?
There is no secret, really, other than the consistency. Lou Patain and the whole Team Mopar team has done a great job, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with here in the future.
The single-season record for victories in a year is 11. Jeg Coughlin now is 2 shy of that with 4 races to go. He just might get it, Steve.
Boy, it's good to see the word Hemi on a Pro Stock valve cover again. This is the car driven by Darrell Alderman. Let's see, it was 1991. You set the record for the most wins in a season at 11. That pesky Copeland kid is trying to get it.
Yeah, you know, and the way he's running, it's possible that he can do it too. Hopefully, we can have something to say about that. You know what I mean? If we can take him out.
You got to be thrilled to death with the progress of this Hemi. A final round last weekend.
It's unbelievable, you know, the way this engine configuration has come around right off the bat. And you give these guys the winter to do R&D on this engine, and I think we can fight for the championship next year.
Good luck, Joe.
Thanks.
Chris?
If you're one of the other competitors in pro stock at this stage of the season, you kind of have to look to an old baseball man for some inspiration. It ain't over till it's over. I think Yogi Berra said that. Kurt Johnson's in second place and still has a mathematical chance to catch up, but what do you have to do to get back in the ballgame? Can you?
Well, we kind of hope the Coughlins just wouldn't show up at the last 4 races. You know, we're pretty pumped. There's 4 races left. The AC Douglas Chevrolet team's been doing a good job. We've been consistent. Last half of the season has been really good to us, and my hat's off to Jeggy for doing a good job. You know, at the beginning of the year, we were trying to beat him out there, but we just weren't hitting on all 8 at the beginning of the year.
At this point of the year, with the point gap so big, does it take any of the edge off, or do the competitive fires burn just as fresh?
Well, this being one of the most competitive automotive categories in drag racing, we figure there's 4 races left, and we're going to try and win them all. You know, my team's doing a good job. I've been driving well, and we seem to have some momentum going here, so we're going to give it all we got.
Like I said, it ain't over till it's over. And speaking of pro stock, what about those wild pro stock trucks? Well, we're going to take a look at some of those beauties when we come back.
A book! Reading never solved anything.
You're gonna write one.
Bette Midler, Nathan Lane, John Cleese, David Hyde Pierce, Stockard Channing, together.
Can I write about having sex in swimming pools?
Even Shakespeare didn't think of that.
They created a sensation that shocked the nation.
Those women in that book, they are animals.
So you hated it?
It is the finest book I have ever read.
Isn't she great?
This month on Direct Ticket Pay-Per-View on DirecTV.
If you're a college hoops fanatic, DirecTV Sports has your ultimate viewing experience. It's ESPN Full Court, bringing you great college basketball matchups from top conferences all over the country. Tune to Channel 215 right now and order the 2000-2001 regular season of ESPN Full Court for 2 payments of $44.50. You'll see up to 30 regular season games each week, featuring top teams and top conferences. It's ESPN Full Court on DirecTV Sports. Next weekend, fasten your seatbelts. Speed Vision wants to take you for a ride. First, SCCA Trans Am bangs into action with Cobras and Corvettes. Then Audi's fleet turns up the heat as the American Le Mans tradition continues at Laguna Seca, only on Speed Vision.
Go where you wanna go.
Introducing Goodyear's new and improved AquaTread 3. At highway speeds in a downpour, a set of AquaTread 3 tires pumps away over 6 gallons of water per second for outstanding wet traction. That's serious technology. Freedom from worry. The all-new 80,000-mile wet traction, dry traction AquaTread 3.
Serious freedom.
Only from Goodyear.
Welcome back to Memphis, Tennessee. You haven't seen Elvis yet, Mike, have you?
Not lately.
We've all been looking for Elvis. Haven't seen him. We have seen the Pro Stock trucks, though, and Bob Piniella leading the list after his wins in Las Vegas, Chicago, Indianapolis, Topeka, Kansas. This is not his kind of weekend, though. His truck runs well when it's hot, and as we've been saying, it's quite cold here this weekend.
Well, that just means he's got a good combination on the summertime combination when it's hot and greasy racetrack, so he may stumble a little bit here.
Well, we'll find out how he does. Let's go down to the pitch. Steve Evans.
Well, Eli, it wasn't just the weather that was hot last Sunday afternoon in Topeka, Kansas. So, too, was the Pro Stock Truck Final. Bob Piniella, Jr. Chevy S10, David Spitzer, the GMC truck at the stripe. It was Piniella. Let's take a look at the season so far. And one thing is very obvious. 2 drivers have dominated, and John Coughlin picks up a sole win there. But the 2 guys, Bob Piniella Jr. and Randy Daniels. And, Bobby, you guys have just taken this thing apart this season.
Yeah, you know, it's too bad because it's really not a good indication of how tough this class really is. You know, I mean, me and Randy have won our share of races, but, boy, there's some tough competitors out there. I mean, John Coughlin, Dave Spitzer, there's some tough guys, you know. We're just working real hard to stay on top.
Well, you got to be fairly confident with your points, a little over 170 points.
Well, I don't want to quite count my chickens quite yet, but yeah, but we're happy. You know, we're in a way better position this year than we were last year. just going to try hard to win here in Memphis, maybe win one more before the year's out, and that should help a real lot.
This guy's in good shape to defend his title. Chris?
Steve, in the Pro Stock trucks at Topeka, David Spitzer became the first man to take a Sonoma GMC to a final. David, I wonder, what does that do for a team? It's something you've been building toward all season long.
Yeah, we've struggled the first part of the year and struggled through the mid parts of the summer and finally got what we think is a good combination. And I'll tell you, all the guys have been working hard back at the shop. Steve Schmidt's been, building us some good horsepower. And really, we got back and everybody was pumped up. And we're finally looking forward to the next weekend here at Memphis.
So is this the moment you break through?
I sure hope so. I think if we get this truck to run a little faster down low and 60 feet, that'll be the couple hunters we're missing to run with the top 2 or 3 trucks.
Well, they're on the verge, Steve. No question about that.
Well, Dodge fans are all aglow about the recent success of their Pro Stock automobiles. Well, they can feel the same way about Pro Stock trucks because the Dakota RT is suddenly a player thanks to Todd Patterson. A lot of hard work has gone into this. What have you really found?
Well, it's been a kind of a combined effort. All the guys from my father, Alan Patterson, to all the guys at my shop, all the people that are closely connected to our program have really made, a